Boulder, it's a long road from Amistad to Toho. Doesn't matter which way you go, the miles are all the same. But when you finally get there, and when you pull the cover off, then it's time to get a little bit lost out on the lake. Gonna back this boat into the water, find a way to win a couple dollars. Weatherman says there's a cold front coming down. Bring it on, I've seen it all by now. I can catch them shallow, I can catch them deep. Open water or the back of the creek.
Hi, Steve Von Brand here with Mike, Newark Basser. We're down here in between the storm. Pouring down rain for the last, 5-6 days.
Easy.
It's going to rain for another 5 days. We've got record amounts of rainfall. And got Tom Wolverton out on the Potomac this morning with Lance Vick and Ryan Corsiato, our other pro staffs, down at Deep Creek with Mark Borger fishing the Classic. So while they're doing that, Mike and I decided to come out in between the heavy rain and catch some bass on Swimjigs. That was caught on a Dirty Jig swim jig. What kind of a trailer did you have on the back of it?
It has a sweet beaver on it in a purple and watermelon color.
That's nice. So now, how'd you work that? What was different?
Well, we've been swimming them through the pads. That time I found an open hole, let it fall to the bottom, jigged it twice.
That's just what we were talking about too, wasn't it? They didn't seem aggressive. They weren't. They were looking and waking sometimes, but kind of following it. And then as soon as you slowed it down, just let it fall into the hole.
Bumped it.
Right, that's what I thought.
That's a nice fish. That's our first one.
Yeah, decent. Healthy looking too.
3 at least, yeah. I mean,
All right, once again, just like we were talking about, Dirty Jig. This is a 3/8 ounce swim jig, and I've got a pocket crawl on the back of this one for the trailer. But immediately did the same thing we just talked about. Swam it through the pads real slow. You held your rod tip high using Sunline FX2 braid. Held it up real high, swam it slow. When it got to the edge, dropped it, and then just slowly started swimming it out. And that's how they're hitting it. A lot of times when they're not aggressive like that, you can use the same baits, but to slow them down, and work them a little differently, and you'll pick up this fish right away. And that's what they're doing now. A lot of people were asking how to use this swim jig, and what I do is I like a big flapping trailer like that. I use a Grandy Bass Mega Claws when I want a little more subtle type of a bait, but then I put the net bait pocket crawl on or something like that, a zoom speed crawl. And what we're going to do is throw this up into these real shallow water like this. You see when it hits how I'm just waking it out of there? See that? Just making a wake. Actually bring it up to the surface sometimes, and it's fast. You want to work that like as fast as you're working a spinner bait, a chatter bait, that type of thing. Throw it in. Reel it right away. I like to use a braid. I like the Sunline FX2 braid. I use 50 to 65 pound test. And you just want to just whip that right in. Right up into the shallows. Burn that thing across the grass, across the pads. Doesn't really matter whether it's grass or pads or whatever. But you just throw it in and then just work it right out. It's a reaction strike. A lot of times in the rivers like the Potomac, you'll have deeper grass. Sometimes the grass will be 5-6 feet down. And that's where the swim jig comes in. You throw it in and you'll slow roll it really, kind of just barely reeling it down along like this, and then when it ticks the top of the grass, pull it off and they hit it. It's a reaction strike. Kind of similar to like what you're doing with a rattle trap, but a little different than that. But a nice steady swim, a lot of times they'll just nail that coming across the grass. Other times you want to get right up into these pads like that, throw it into the pads, right into them, into the centers. Burn it out of there. Sometimes you can hesitate it. Today we hesitated a couple times when it got to the holes or the edges, and they did hit it as it was coming out of there. Other times they'll hit it right as it hits the water, or you start to wake it in those pads like that. Bang! They'll come up and get it. So that's basically how we're working these swim jigs right now. See, they're same thing. Dirty jig again. 3/8 ounce dirty jig. And usually I have Grandy Bass on the back, but I just switched up to a pocket crawl trailer on this because it has more of a flap in these pads, and oh, that's a decent bass.
Oh, real nice.
Not giant, but good, hefty bass, boy. I put this up around 3, 6, 9, around 9.5, 10 pounds on 3 fish. That's good, decent. All right.
Number 2 for me.
And that makes 4 for us now. That gives us 4, that's about 2.5.
Yeah.
Got weight, so that gives us what, 4 at say 10, it's
11
got
and a half, 11
12
and a quarter.
pounds,
Yeah,
11 and a half, 12 pounds, somewhere right in there. But you see that dirty jig right down in his mouth?
We're basically using the same color jig. That time I was swimming it, and he hit it as it hit a pad. He must have been looking up.
He exploded on
Yeah,
it.
he did. It was a nice strike, got him in the top of the mouth, pretty deep. I didn't even feel him. I saw the line run.
I was talking to Mike about it. I said, look, you just need to pick this apart. Just slowly pick it apart, inch by inch, inch by inch. I couldn't even get out my whole statement.
Third cast.
And there you go. Dirty jig. There we go. On the dirty jig, flipped right up into the dock.
Yep.
Not giant. Look at his back.
Yeah, he got bit up here.
But another decent tournament fish.
Oh yeah.
Well, we worked our way back up the lake. We've used a variety of baits. It's not like we haven't tried, you know, fast-moving baits and then went back to slow-moving baits. We've used chatterbaits, 2 different colors and sizes, right?
Yep.
We had like one on that, didn't we? Or chased it, but not.
Yeah,
that's
just
it.
a chase. We didn't catch anything on it.
We've thrown the swim jigs and regular dirty jigs, flipping jigs. That was probably the best bait, really, of the day. We've had quite a few bass trying to pick up the Grandy bass, megatail, rattlesnake, and then they dropped it. I can't tell if they're small bass or panfish or what. They really are really very, very, very light hits today. Now the sun's coming out and the temperature's rising, real high humidity, very unstable weather. So I'm sure that has something to do with it. You're in transition, late September, unstable weather, rain for 5 days, sun comes out and it's going to rain for 4 more days. 50 degrees one night and 85 the next, so that's hard fishing then. But we haven't done so bad so far, and right now Mike's throwing a thin Senko, if you've never seen one of those before. It's actually called a thin Senko.
This is a regular Senko.
And now you have a regular Senko on?
4-inch.
Now you have a
purple.
4-inch purple on.
Yeah.
So we're going to see what that does. We're going to hit the pads again here before we go in. And I'm going to throw the swim jig around here a little bit, and then we'll work our way back to the dock. So we'll see you guys. We're going to get on out of here. We threw our dirty jigs and Grandy bass and net bait and Senkos and chatterbaits, and we've had enough. Sun's out, it's hot. Got to get going, take care of some business. We'll be back again next week after the next 5-day rain period's over. So hopefully everybody did real good. Tom did good with the Potomac with Lance today. We'll be hearing about that soon. Hopefully we'll have a good report and some videos. And hopefully Ryan and Mark did good in the Classic down there. And until next time.
Brother, it's a long road from Amistad to Toho. Doesn't matter which way you go, the miles are all the same. But when you finally get there, and when you pull the cover off, then it's time to get a little bit lost out on the lake. Gonna back this boat into the water,